Good morning, Maya back. Here's the plan. Quite a bit more of the same, but one new thing doesn't actually affect the house, but they are going to be relocating the barracks that a few of the crew use for overnight stays, just to be a little bit more secure. I still haven't entirely figured out what was going on yesterday afternoon. The engineer did point out a few bits and pieces for me, and a lot of it was to do with electrical work, as more lights have been fitted, including with bulbs. So now we've got the choice of warm white and cool white in a lot of the bedrooms. I think, without even seeing it, almost certainly we're going to go with cool white. So yeah, it's kind of more of the same today. Plus, yes, you've noticed, backed by popular demand, hugely popular demand, is the t-shirt. I have been inundated with absolutely no requests whatsoever to see it again. But there you go, the Philippines 4.0 t-shirt. Not available to the general public until I can find a better way of supplying it. What else could possibly go wrong? We'll start here in the dirty kitchen today, where a few moments ago, Herwin, with an H, was back on ceiling painting duty. He's moved on now, maybe he's done for the moment. We are now suffering a little bit from a delay in granite supply. There's no granite been delivered, so they can't get on with doing anything in here or in the bedrooms. In the dining room, Ernie has put the paint on all of the surfaces now of this design feature and is now recreating that kind of grain appearance with a very small brush and some varnish. And then he, as you can see here, takes a larger brush and just kind of cleans it all up. It's all rather clever, or at least it seems rather clever to someone like me. Here at the staircase, painter Mr. Willie is working on these cutouts for lights. Again, he's just sanding it back, and they will be brought back to the light brown colour with grain. There he is sanding one of those little highlight pieces, which, as we said yesterday, will be a much darker brown to try to match these door frames and window frames. This is looking out of the living room, and I only noticed yesterday, late on, that there is now insect mesh. And I guess it's been there from the start, I just didn't see it. So on this side, on the left, no mesh, but here, this window is actually open, but the mesh slides across. I'll demonstrate briefly. Not sure how clearly that mesh comes out, but I can assure you that here it is 100% crucial. We have to have it everywhere. There are so many bugs that if we didn't have this, particularly at night time, this house would be flooded with various little flying nasties. So this will be on all windows. It only goes on one side. It can be slid across, so there is nothing, for example, now over here, and there won't be. But the chances that we would ever want all of the windows, or both windows on under one frame, to be open at the same time, I don't think that will happen. Well, it can't happen if we want to keep bugs out. So there we go. Insect mesh. In the Philippines, you've got to have it. It is very dark in here, but Mr. Ronell, hiding around the corner, Coelito, just putting in more piping for the extractor fan, so that gets connected to an outside wall somewhere. Hidden in the scaffolding, Papa Jess, just sorting out wiring for lights that will be up here above the gas station canopy. On Jack's balcony, Frederick is making a start on tiling here. So it's exactly the same as the tiles that we used on the master balcony. And again, you've got a little bit of a pattern with darker grey and lighter grey tiles. It's going to have to have very long arms to reach over to the end. Very unsafe. Well, I'm sure they'll put scaffolding up. It's just after lunch. We'll start here at the carport on the plastering at the back. Yep, still can't see it. While we're here, the barracks that was over there is no longer over there. It's been moved, but I'm not going to show you where. Security, you know. One bit of good news, we've got some granite. Let's see if we can figure out where it's going. When it's this size, I would assume it's in the dirty kitchen. On the staircase, Sing Enrico has finished putting the Hardiflex down at the back there on the inside of this wall. So he's back on sanding duty, making the stairs lovely and smooth. In the dining room, we're getting our grain. Ernie's put on some slightly darker varnish. He's actually just using, I think, just a piece of cloth to spread it around, and it gives that grain-like appearance because it's uneven. It's marvellous. In the downstairs hallway, Master Willie is putting colour into these cutouts for the lights. In fact, there was a very slight change of plan. If I point straight up, you can probably make out it's just a single colour. It's dark brown, both on the little bits of wood that were inserted and on the main cutout itself. Yeah, he's done quite a lot of the cutouts along this hallway. These are the last few that he's onto. In the dirty kitchen, Irwin with an H, painting the ceiling. So this will, I think, just be pretty much a plain white finish on a lot of the painted surfaces in here. So at the moment, while he's doing that, still no granite. They're just cutting to shape in preparation, I think, for using that granite in here. The electrician, Papa Jess, has been working on these lights. All connected now, and the engineers demonstrating by cycling through some of the various options. I don't know how many there are. There's a cool white, a warm white, and then dimmer. Not a dimmer switch in the sense that you can't put percentages, but just dim or bright. So that is still not been adjusted. Obviously, we've got to find a photograph of how these should hang down. We'll get there eventually. While we're on lighting, there's all sorts of lights are on at the moment up here on the upstairs landing. We've got our Olympic rings plus tube lights. Not switched on at the moment. Oh yes, they are. The LED strip lights. Very hard to make those out when it's light though. And now we've got 3 of these lights also set and working. There's going to be dozens of options here with different lighting effects that we could have. We have, for the first time in a while, a blazing sun beating down just here. So this is going to look rather shadowed, but we now have, close to half of this wall is now tiled. So, as we saw this morning, coming to this end is no problem. Finishing off at that end, there is now a platform. So they can do it when they're ready. We're just doing a quick comparison of these lights where we have the option of cool white or warm white. So this, in Alex's room, I mean, you're not going to get the best comparison, it's daylight, but this is the warm white appearance. And I'll show you somewhere else where at the moment we've got cool white lights installed. Here in the master then we've got the cool white. They're all installed, so you get a bit of a sense of it, but it is, I'm sure, hard to make out the true difference in daylight. To my eyes, and my way of thinking, in a bedroom it should always be a warm white, not a cool white. But I'm going to go and see whether my boss agrees. It's 4:30. The crew are heading out. So we'll go and see what's been going on. But before we do, oh, by the way, more nephews and nieces in the pool because it's the first really nice day we've had for quite a long time. And they are being watched by the lifeguard crew over there. So anyway, Kel Telford said, I'm renovating my house. First floor's okay. Second floor's another story. And by the way, do you know how much the roof cost? Nothing. It's on the house. Let's go and see how they got on. Well, the regular crew are out, but the two fellas doing the tiling are just doing a bit of clean up and finishing off. In fact, the tiles that we saw them cutting earlier are edge pieces, so just down here. Now they've fixed most, not all, of these edge pieces in the main kitchen. So still at this point, nothing in the dirty kitchen or in any of the bathrooms for the wash basin cabinets. But I just told him, this blew me away when I saw this, how accurate the cutting was, and it was all done entirely without anything other than his hands and his eye and a saw. It's absolutely marvellous. And this is the dirty kitchen without any granite, but looks to my, as we know, very untrained eye, as though all of the ceiling has had its penultimate coat of paint. It's looking very clean and nicely done. The cutouts for the lights in the downstairs hallway, most have now been painted to some extent. There's still work to be done. These ones around here, they haven't finished those little added on pieces, but all of the darker brown has been put into those niche. Still quite a bit of work to be done because the edges need to still be painted. I'm not sure yet whether they will be white or that dark brown. I suspect they'll take that back to a white. But quite a lot more progress this afternoon with getting this area close to finished. On Jack's balcony, didn't get finished, in fact quite a long way from being finished. So this will continue, I would imagine, probably for most of tomorrow at least. This is Jack's bathroom, and there's evidence here of where I think the plumber has been going around various bathrooms, just trying to finish off the ducting for the extraction. So it looks to me like just here it's not quite finished. I think in a few other rooms they have got it done now. In the dining room, it looks like Ernie finished all of the staining of this design feature in the ceiling. I think it does look very nice. But again, I'm always biased with these things. I think the next step will be the wood areas on the panel areas on this wall. Plus there's still a little bit to do up in these coves. So again, where we've got paint but not yet stained. This is just for Demon Owl, who put a comment in yesterday, or today maybe, saying he noticed that the little diggerator was still here. Well, yep, it's still here. Haven't seen it in operation for quite a long time. Don't know whether it is operational. But this little thing has been with us from pretty close to the start of the build. And maybe, at some point, at his suggestion, we buy it from the builder and make a monument of it. So that is the end of the day. There was, of course, more going on. There was more plastering at the back of the carport, which, from our point of view, you know, we don't care about the appearance, but they're doing it to make sure it is waterproofed. So there was that going on. There was more with lighting still, and possibly other bits and pieces. But that's the end of the day. We'll see you tomorrow. See what that brings.